Imagine walking into a museum late at night. The lights are dimmed, the echo of your footsteps follows you through silent halls. And everywhere you turn, glass cases gleam with treasures that survived wars, conquests, and centuries of change. What if I told you that each artifact is not just a dusty relic of the past, but a living witness, one that still holds secrets waiting to be uncovered? This is the secret life of historical artifacts. From the golden mask of Tutankhamun to the clay tablets of Mesopotamia, artifacts are more than simple objects. They are storytellers. They whisper tales of forgotten rituals, hidden messages, and cultural revolutions. But here's the thing. Most of us walk right past them, not realizing the extraordinary stories they carry. Today, I want to pull back the curtain and reveal the side of artifacts you might never have imagined. Because when you start seeing them as living puzzle pieces, history comes alive in a way you can feel. Let's start with one of the most iconic places on Earth, the British Museum in London. Inside, you'll find the Rosetta Stone, arguably one of the most important discoveries in history. On its surface are inscriptions in 3 scripts: Greek, Demotic, and ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs. For centuries, hieroglyphs were an impenetrable mystery. Scholars stared at temple walls covered in strange bird symbols and spirals. But no one could crack the code. The Rosetta Stone became the key that unlocked the voice of ancient Egypt. Imagine suddenly hearing the pharaohs speak again after 1,500 years of silence. Without it, the temples of Karnak or the Valley of the Kings would remain mute monuments. But with it, we can understand their prayers, their laws, even their love letters. That is the hidden power of an artifact. But artifacts are not just about words, they are about culture. Travel to Xi'an in China, and you'll meet an army that has stood in silence for over 2,000 years. The Terracotta Warriors, thousands of life-sized clay soldiers, each with a unique face, hairstyle, and armor detail. It wasn't just a grand burial project for Emperor Qin Shi Huang. It was a declaration of power and eternity. Every soldier was a silent guard, prepared to protect the emperor in the afterlife. The detail is staggering. You can almost imagine the sound of boots marching, the clinking of bronze weapons, the orders shouted into the air. What's even more fascinating is that traces of color were once visible on these statues. They weren't just clay gray. They were painted in bright reds, purples, and greens. Imagine how alive that underground army must have looked. And yet, those pigments faded as soon as they were unearthed, vanishing like a secret the Earth wanted to keep. Artifacts also reveal the intimate lives of ordinary people. Consider the preserved ruins of Pompeii in Italy. When Mount Vesuvius erupted in 79 AD, it buried the city in ash, freezing an entire culture in time. Walking through Pompeii today is like stepping through a portal. Stone bakeries with bread ovens still intact, colorful frescoes on villa walls, even graffiti carved into walls with messages like, "Celadus the gladiator makes all the girls sigh." Artifacts here aren't just objects, they are voices. They tell us that Romans had a sense of humor, that they decorated their homes with vibrant art, that they valued food, wine, and entertainment. The plaster casts of victims, their final moments captured in stone, are haunting reminders of how fragile life can be. These are not just relics, they are human stories trapped in time. And sometimes artifacts carry mysteries we still haven't solved. Take the Antikythera mechanism, a device pulled from an ancient shipwreck off the coast of Greece. It looks like a corroded lump of bronze gears, but when studied, it turned out to be an ancient computer, built more than 2,000 years ago. It could track planetary positions, predict eclipses, and even calculate the timing of the Olympic Games. Think about that. A clockwork machine of incredible complexity, existing centuries before modern engineering. Some call it the world's first analog computer. Who built it? How common were such devices? Why did this knowledge vanish for so long? These questions remind us that history isn't a straight line. It's full of discoveries lost and rediscovered. Let's cross continents again, to the mysterious Mayan world in Central America, in sites like Copan or Chichen Itza. Stone stelae rise from the jungle floor, carved with intricate glyphs. For a long time, these symbols were as enigmatic as Egyptian hieroglyphs. But when linguists cracked them, an entire civilization's voice came roaring back. We learned about Mayan kings, astronomers, and rituals that blended math with spirituality. One artifact, the Dresden Codex, reveals the Mayans' astonishing grasp of astronomy. They could predict solar eclipses with accuracy that rivals NASA today. Imagine holding a book that connects you not just to ancient minds, but to the stars themselves. That is the power of a written artifact. And then, there are objects that challenge our assumptions about art. For example, in the caves of Lascaux in France, we see paintings made over 17,000 years ago. Horses gallop across stone walls, bulls charge with powerful strokes, and abstract patterns dance around them. These weren't doodles. These were intentional, ritualistic, almost spiritual acts of expression. When you stand inside those caves, or the replica, since the originals are too fragile for visitors, you feel the pulse of creativity that connects us across millennia. Artifacts like these tell us that art is not just decoration, it's identity. It's how humans have always made sense of the world. But artifacts aren't always found in pristine museums or ancient ruins. Sometimes, they emerge from the everyday world in the most unexpected ways. Think of the Dead Sea Scrolls, hidden in desert caves near Qumran. Shepherds stumbled upon them by accident in the 1940s. Inside were fragments of ancient Jewish texts, including some of the oldest known versions of biblical writings. For historians and theologians, it was like opening a time capsule. What's fascinating is that these scrolls had been deliberately hidden, probably to protect them during turbulent times. They were artifacts of faith, resistance, and preservation, proof that even words written on fragile parchment can outlive empires. Of course, artifacts are not always passive storytellers. Some seem almost alive. Consider the Shroud of Turin, a linen cloth bearing the faint image of a man who appears to have been crucified. For centuries, people have debated whether it is the burial shroud of Jesus Christ or an elaborate medieval forgery. Carbon dating suggests a medieval origin, yet new studies keep sparking debate. Regardless of authenticity, the artifact has drawn millions of pilgrims and researchers, inspiring faith and controversy alike. This shows us that artifacts live not just in the past, but in the present, through the meanings we attach to them. Artifacts also remind us of how cultures interacted, sometimes in harmony, sometimes through conquest. Take the Benin bronzes of Nigeria, now displayed in museums across Europe. These stunning plaques and sculptures tell stories of royal courts, warriors, and ceremonies. But their presence in foreign museums also raises uncomfortable questions. How do we honor the artistry and significance of artifacts when they were taken under colonial violence? The hidden story here isn't just in the bronze, it's in the journey of the artifact itself. From its original cultural setting to glass cases thousands of miles away. Artifacts are not just about history, they are about power, identity, and justice. And this brings us to one of the most important truths. Artifacts only come alive when we listen to them. They may not speak with voices, but they speak through detail, through the brushstroke of a painter, the wear on a sword hilt, the cracks in a clay pot, the symbols carved into stone. Each mark carries intention, and when we decode it, we connect directly to another human being across centuries. That connection is electric. It's the reason we feel awe when we stand in front of the Mona Lisa, the Venus de Milo, or a Viking ship. So next time you step into a museum or walk among ancient ruins, don't just glance at the labels. Pause, look deeper. Ask, what story is this artifact trying to tell me? Because once you see artifacts as more than objects, once you see them as living bridges, you'll never look at history the same way again. Artifacts don't just preserve the past, they challenge us, they inspire us, they remind us of who we are and where we come from. And maybe, just maybe, they hold the keys to understanding where we are going. This has been The Secret Life of Historical Artifacts, silent witnesses that never stop speaking, if only we have the patience to listen.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button. It really helps the channel grow. Feel free to share it with a friend who loves a good mystery. And if you haven't already, please subscribe so you won't miss the next story. There's a lot more to uncover, and I'd love to have you along for the journey.